For almost 12 months, those shipping container costs have come down. The flow of goods has resumed, but now prices have alarmingly started to rise again. Paul Zalai is director and co-founder of the Freight and Trade Alliance and joins me now. Paul, many thanks for your time. This is alarming because this goes all the way back to why inflation started in Australia in the first place.
Yeah, you're spot on, Ross. Some people are calling this now baby COVID. We're getting very similar range of situations that we happened before, albeit different global events, but it's having the same impact as you described.
Okay, so break down the global events that are causing the price of containers, the price of shipping to come to Australia, escalating in the way in which it is.
Well, we can see what's happening in the Red Sea. We've seen some incredible footage recently of drones actually blowing up vessels there. Now, we've still got some containerised vessels going through the Red Sea, but they're under military escort, particularly from the French. The vast majority of international trade now, the containerised trade, is coming around the Cape of Good Hope.
And so that's adding not only time, but expense for goods to be shipped.
It does. And huge expense, and insurance is going through the roof as well, because you've got to remember, we're not just talking about the events of the Red Sea, we've still got pirates on the high sea, especially around the African coast. So insurances are going up as well. And it's tying up equipment. So those vessels now are being used on longer voyages, and the equipment, the containers, there's a limited stock of them globally, and they're now getting caught up in these longer voyages.
All right, so then is that the only reason why containers might be sort of a bit out of whack in that global circuit right now?
Well, it's not. It's that in itself has caused congestion in Asian ports, particularly in Singapore, like what we've never seen before. So it's a huge transshipment port.
And a lot of our goods would actually be transiting through Singapore. That's one thing that a lot of people won't realise.
That's it. So both our imports and our exports to other parts of the world is reliant on efficient Singapore and other transshipment hubs. So they've been thrown out of kilter. And the other big issue as well is in the US. So we've got the Biden administration now going for more protectionism. They're looking to bring some industries back on shore and put huge tariffs on particular goods out of China. So, and the threat of Donald Trump coming in as president, he's going to go even stronger on those tariffs.
But wouldn't that mean there'd be more containers, potentially, if China and the United States are not shipping to each other?
Yeah, you're spot on, but there's now a rush to try and beat those tariffs. So you've got a situation now where a lot of importers and a lot of produce from China is making its way to the US. Talking to our exporters this morning, it's virtually impossible for them to try and get any market share on vessels to get to North America.
Okay, so I can remember during COVID, one issue was that the containers going from Europe to the United States or from China to the United States, all of that was basically where most of the action was, with the shortage of goods and the shortage of containers. Australia, at the bottom of the world at the end of the line, was not really getting those containers, which is the reason why our prices escalated in the way in which they did. Is that being repeated right now?
It is, and you're spot on. One of the big issues that we've got here is that all the shipping lines that service Australia, they're all foreign owned. They're all commercial interests, and they're looking to maximise profits. They're going to use their vessels and their equipment where it's most lucrative. So again, it's just a reality in that respect. Supply and demand, Australian importers and exporters will have to pay more to be able to secure those vessels and try and get some of that market share back servicing Australia.
Okay, and then there's actually our ports themselves, which have been the subject of significant industrial action.
Yeah, well, DP World had massive issues, but they've finally sorted that out. They've got a 4-year enterprise agreement in place. What is a concern is coming up again next year is that the other stevedores are all neatly aligned with their enterprise agreements. So there is a threat there that potentially we have what we experienced between sort of November and earlier this year magnified with multiple stevedores potentially affected.
Okay, is it got to the point now where it's affecting the supply of goods into Australia, affecting prices, do you think?
Look, it is. And the other thing is too, it's not just us saying it. The World Bank has come out with a survey now, and all of the Australian containerised ports were sitting in the low 200s in a world ranking. Now, if we were in that ranking for sport or for health or whatever, there'd be an outcry, but it seems to be acceptable that our ports can operate at that disappointing level.
Is it time the government got involved?
Yes. So really they have had an opportunity. The Productivity Commission came out with a very good report in December 22, and that made a lot of recommendations that we think the federal government should be having a close look at.
Good on you, Paul Zalai. Always good to chat to you, and many thanks for your time today.
Thanks again, Ross.
So that's it for today.